Tuning you in now to the LBX show with your host, Brandon Wiley. Brought to you by the LBX Collective, your community to connect, engage, and inspire.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the LBX show for May 31st, 2026. I'm your host, Brandon Wiley, and we have a great show lined up for you today. First, we're going to dive into some news you should know, and it's going to be like a World Cup special edition, news you should know. And then we'll close it out with we'll then go into a solid open and shut with Kevin Williams to review all the opening and closing trends from the last week. And then finally, Chuck DeMonte is back with promo pro tips, and this week he is discussing the influencer marketing. So you're going to definitely want to stick around and catch that segment. All right, let's dive into some news you should know. All right, well, we've got our Intercard lineup for 2026. The future is here. Meet with the experts at Intercard. And coming up, they're going to be in a few different places. So just this week, they're going to be at the Minnesota Operators Show. That is MoMA in June 2nd to the 4th in where? Minnesota. All right, so they are going to be there. And then they're going to be traveling to IAPA Asia Expo. This is in Hong Kong this year, and it is June 9th to the 12th. So make sure you get out to see the Intercard experts there. And then if you're not going to be traveling to China anytime soon or Asia, then go and see them at Bull Expo in just a couple of weeks. I feel like Bull Expo is going to be here before we know it. It's like 4 weeks away, and it's June 28th to the 2nd in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm really excited to go back to Nashville. One of the first Bull Expos I got to visit was actually at the Gaylord Opryland, and it's an amazing, beautiful resort, beautiful convention center. And Bull Expo always does a phenomenal job putting on a great show, good education, good expo. So looking forward to being there, and I will see you at that one. I'm not going to be at Minnesota Operator Show or IPA Asia, but I will be at Bull Expo. So also, if you want to hang out, just let me know, and we'll meet up. Going to be walking around the show floor, going to be hanging out, doing stuff. Going down to Printer's Alley. There's some blues music, all that good stuff. Absolutely love my time in Nashville. All right, so that is the Intercard lineup for 2026 and for the next few weeks. All right, so the World Cup is here. Well, it's almost here. It's like coming in just 2 weeks. So it's June 11th is the kickoff. June 11th, June 12th. June 12th is the kickoff day. No, I'm wrong. June 11th is actually the first game. June 12th is when the U.S. plays. But anyway, bottom line, the World Cup is here, and a lot of the big brands in our space are beginning to roll out the promotions. So just going to give you a couple of examples of some of those promotions. This is a huge opportunity to take advantage of this in your community. The World Cup is here in the US, and especially if you've got a facility in one of the cities where a game is being played, then you should absolutely be trying to take advantage of this, run special promotions, create new F&B concepts, whatever it is that you feel like you need to or want to do, go ahead and do it, right? But this is the kind of thing, like we talk about seasonal packages, seasonal items, seasonal F&B, seasonal events that you're hosting, all those different things. Like, this is a great way to rally the community. You have potentially, you have bars, you have F&B already. Bring them in, get TV set up, get a projector set up. If you don't have sports bar or TV, that kind of thing, there's so many ways that you could take advantage of this. And so just going to give a couple of examples, some of the bigger brands that are doing things. So first one up is Dave & Buster's. They are bringing competition. So they had a really big viral success around their human crane. They did a Valentine's Day human crane activation, and that was really super successful. So they're now doing the same thing for 1 week across their Dave & Buster locations in the US. And they are taking their human crane and giving everybody a chance to win once-in-a-lifetime prizes. So first time for soccer fans can actually go into the claw machine. You actually see a guy hanging in there. They're not big tickets like this. That's just actually just an overlay if you're looking at the video. They're not big tickets, but basically you can compete for these tickets to multiple matches across the country, including the final championship match. So pretty big deal. Some of these tickets are going for, decent amount of money. But if you basically you can grab other oversized prizes. There's buried amongst there's soccer themed inflatables. There will be the tickets in there. Some of those actually games will be the U.S. versus Turkey match, which is there'll be then a round of 32 match. and then a quarterfinal match, and then also the final match. And they can win seats to the lower bowl even, which is amazing. So the ones who don't win those tickets, you can still obviously come away with your inflatable stuff, but you also have a chance to win exclusive prizes. There's free gameplay, there's free food, and a lot more stuff. And this is all happening during the week of June 11th to the 17th. So basically the kickoff week of World Cup. World Cup runs through the middle of July, but they are running this promotion specifically at the beginning of the World Cup tournament. And so the first week, so June 11th to June 17th. But beyond the human crane, they're doing a couple of other things. So they're let me see here. So they're also doing some obviously so they can catch every match on. They have 40-foot screens. They have more than 30 TVs in every location, and they have some tournament themed food and drink offerings. Some of those, like for example, is this slider trio. It's an all-American slider. There's a Canadian maple slider and then a Mexican street slider, because obviously those of you know, and you saw the logo at the beginning, World Cup is being played across North America, so Canada, Mexico, and the US. And so, of course, they've done this really cool F&B trio slider. Great idea, something you could easily implement in your facility if you have these types. If you're already doing sliders, why not then modify those sliders a little bit to have a unique promotional type F&B item? Charge a little bit more for it too, by the way. So the brand is also then going to offer some limited time soccer merch. There's some elevated in-store viewing experiences. They have 2 new soccer-inspired arcade games. So one is called World Soccer, which is a 4-player soccer showdown, and then Kick and Win, where the guests can play to play for the chance to win a mini soccer ball from their favorite country. So pretty cool stuff. And they're also going to have a hat trick watch experience. This is a special ticketed watch party event for the kickoff and championship matches. So the very first match and then the championship matches. The championship match. And this is all you can eat wings and fries during the matches, unlimited gameplay all day long on the day of the games. And they're selling these tickets for $24.99. Again, something you could do. You could have a hat trick type of experience, or whatever you want to call it, on the opening kickoff day, the championship, or the quarterfinals, or whatever. Sell those as extra tickets and find a way to create a unique experience and also boost your revenue and top line. So anyway, that is what Dave & Buster's is doing. So Topgolf is also launching some international soccer themed experiences across all of their 100 venues this summer. So this includes some F&B, which we'll talk about, some soccer goals that are actually in venue, and then they've actually modified one of their core games to look at soccer. Let's dig into it a little bit. So first of all, they're going to broadcast every single global matchup on their HD screens throughout the venue, in a bay or at the bar for the duration of the tournament. And some of their locations, actually, if you've been there, have screens actually all the way out on the back wall too, like big giant massive screens. Not all of the venues do, but some of them do. So they'll obviously be broadcasting every single soccer game from June 11th to July 19th. And you can watch from any area of the venue, because obviously they have bars, and access is operating as usual throughout the tournament. So you can also do 63 of their venues are going to have full-size soccer goals. They haven't said necessarily which ones, but this picture here shows like the soccer goal is actually out there in the field. So 63 soccer goals that you can then shoot and try to get your ball through the soccer goal. Basically, anyway, just for fun, I guess, because it's not actually. Maybe this one is being scored. I don't know, but it's like not in one of their scoring nets. So I don't know that it would actually be part of it. I think it's just for the hell of it. And then they're also introducing a version of their popular game, Shot Shuffle, but it's soccer inspired. So from May 28th, actually, so like just started this last Friday through July 19th, the game has been changed to where there are country flags and there's a soccer ball tracer. I think I have here we go. So there's country flags and a soccer ball tracer there. So like instead of it being the ball, the normal golf ball tracer, it's like a soccer ball that's going out there. So, just an overlay, a graphical overlay, that's fine. But look, it still is kind of leaning into the World Cup vibes. They also are rolling out a limited time menu. So they've got a bunch of different summer specific menu items that are all summer long. And then they have some soccer inspired menu items. And, I was a little bit disappointed by the drinks. But whatever, like they're dealing with the stuff that they already have. And so they're trying to make the best of it. But they have a Breakaway Breeze, which is a Casamigos Blanca tequila with strawberry passion fruit and Q sparkling grapefruit. And it's in a collectible cup at select venues while supplies last. So that's a nice thing. It is a collectible cup. And then they have the Global Cup, which ironically is not collectible. but it's called a cup for the drink. So I don't know if they're trying to be like a Pim's cup or something. I don't know, but a customizable cocktail featuring spirits from participating soccer countries with lime and ginger beer. So that is available for just $10. So again, you can create these unique drinks and menu items and everything else that is tied to World Cup. So if you haven't already done it, get on it, because you got the World Cup coming up in a week and a half. So get going now. Anyway, that is, and if you're not going to, just enjoy the games, enjoy the matches. Should be fun. All right. Speaking of Topgolf, the Hideaway pool. Did you know that there was a Topgolf with a pool? I didn't actually, but the Hideaway pool at Topgolf Las Vegas is open for the season. They opened a couple of years ago. This is their flagship location, and it is also their largest location in in their portfolio. But what's cool with the pool is it's a 21 and over spot, first of all, so there's not going to be any kids, and it's a place where they say cool off between turns at the bays. I don't know that I want to like go jump in the pool and then like go swing a golf club. I feel like it's going to slip right out of my hands and go flinging into the field. But anyway, the pool has no cover charge, and there's music, poolside seating, quick access to food and drinks, and nearby golf bays. Guests can book private cabanas with reserved seating. There's overhead heating, even mini fridge and full F&B service. Towels are provided, lockers are available, and complimentary floaties are also offered. I'm assuming it's not the floaties that go in your arms, because these are adults. I'm assuming it's floaties that you can then sit in and just float around in the pool. But anyway, there are two pool areas. So one is on level 3, and one is then an exclusive level 4 pool reserved for level 4 bay guests. So like if you rent out the bay in level 4, then you get this exclusive smaller pool, but it is pretty cool. You can see the picture here, like overlooks the other larger pool as well. And anyway, so just a little background on this Topgolf, which is pretty fascinating. It's, first of all, it's the biggest Topgolf in the world. It's the flagship for the brand. And then it's 4 stories, as I mentioned. There's 2 pools, as you know, VIP suites and cabanas everywhere. And then they actually have a Topgolf swing suite fitting studio with Callaway golf fitting experts, which I wonder how that's going to be once they finish breaking apart. But bars, bays, parties, events, blah, 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 whatever, like tons of stuff going on. But the main thing is the Hideaway pool this summer, which is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. throughout the summer. I find it interesting, though, that they don't leave it open later, considering Topgolf is open late, like, at least until 8, maybe 10 o'clock, especially if they're trying to create that party vibe. But anyway, I did not know. And, we were talking, and I was like, hey, the Hideaway pool's open. Maybe go check it out next time I'm in Vegas. Not to go swimming, but just go check it out. So anyway, all that being said, that is news you should know. Coming up right after the break, we've got Kevin Williams with Open and Shut. Intercard makes cashless easy with award-winning readers, self-serve kiosks, real-time reporting, and flexible guest payment options. From play cards and credit cards to mobile payments and QR codes. Since introducing the industry's first card system in 1989, Intercard has helped operators reduce cash handling, increase guest spending, and run smarter venues. Intercard is the world leader in cashless technology. If you aren't already part of their global family of customers, they hope you'll become one soon. Visit intercardinc.com to learn more.
Hey, big hello to the latest Open and Shut. I hope I find you well, Brandon.
Doing well. Yep, doing well. Excited for this one. It looks like we've got quite a bit going on.
Well, it's back to the large number, I would say, but I would also say that it's kind of a telling structure. But hey, let's get into it rather than a teaser.
All right, let's do it.
So starting off, and there is the rundown of venues that we're going to be touching on. And here is the Tourist of Pain, showing where most of them sit for those that are into that thing. Jumping straight in, and our friends at Joyopolis, or should we call them CA Sega Geopolis, the operation owned by the Chinese corporation, using the Sega branding and building upon their F&B operation. Now, some of you will go, hey, this isn't really anything major new. We know that Joyopolis has their sports operation, which is kind of their active entertainment to the B Sport event or the Cal Sports or the Round One equivalent. Well, this one's slightly different. This is a brand new take on the operation. This is Joyopolis Sport X. And Joyopolis Sport X is a digital sports amusement environment comprising some really interesting, what I would call active entertainment, immersive active entertainment. They've dropped in a Valor Arena into the Tokyo facility. They also have the illuminated floor and some other entertainment.
So what's interesting is that they actually call themselves and maybe this is a translation issue, but they call them an attractions and live park. And Google does reference them as an amusement or as an amusement park also, but I don't know what a live park is. I've not heard this before. I mean, they have a Gekion live coaster when I'm looking here, so maybe this is like has to do with this like a particular coaster that they have that's called a live coaster, but I don't know why they call it a live park. But yeah, they have a bunch of different rides and attractions in addition to it being this adventure park as well. I mean, it's a multi-floor thing. I mean, this thing is massive, frankly, and the number of attractions they have on each floor is pretty significant.
I'm interested to see that the Joyopolis investment, the Joyopolis Sport investment, has gone in this direction. So they already have about 3 Joyopolis Sports open, 2 in Japan, 1 in China, if my memory serves me right. So now this new breed of Joyopolis Sports X, it moves away from the Joyopolis core brand, which was a mid-scale indoor amusement park. And as you say, its terminology is a little bit hard to nail down. We will have to wait and see how this venue does. We will also have to wait and see how many more of these are going to open. We do understand that Sega Joyopolis, the parent operation that all of this is under, is going to be going through changes. But we could touch upon that a little bit more in sound off. Moving on, and we jump straight into a question mark. I'm putting this out there, the open and shut covers both soft openings, full openings, and redevelopments of brands in the market. And we were meant to be, or are, under a soft opening of the Crossbar Toca Social-like kind of environment. My sources tell me that they're in soft opening, though I can't really give you much more information than I don't have. I don't have any pictures of inside the facility, and I don't even have a web page to send you to. And there are two. Yeah, and that's scary. There is a Crossbar entertainment facility that I can send you to, but that's in Brighton. That is a bar that opened a couple of months ago, and that is aimed at female football players. So we've already got a problem with the Crossbar name to start with, and now we have a super situation, which is they've received multiple investment. They're carrying out allegedly a soft opening, and I can't point you to anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, we've talked about this before, but like not having a marketing presence, a website presence when you're not only just going into a soft opening, I mean, opening at all, but putting out any sort of press releases, let alone like this is something you should have while you're actually under construction, so that people who go to Printworks in Manchester can see that there's something coming and coming soon, scan this QR code, get information, sign up for announcements and whatever. There's lots of reasons why you want to have something available ahead of time. And this is, it seems compelling, but again, all we've seen so far are really simple computer generated concept images. We've not seen anything in real life yet on this. And, it has to be, I'm just always surprised when something like this, what clearly is going to be or trying to be a Toca Social multi-location brand at some point in the future, if this one works out, to not have that type of strong marketing presence ahead of time. And the Printworks lease payments cannot be cheap either to not really be promoting this to drive as much foot traffic in as possible right out of the gate.
And we have 2 venues to consider. We have both the Printworks venue that will be opening, or is going to open directly in June, and we also have the Liverpool One venue that is going to open at the end of June, beginning of July. If you're not, you come up with a press release telling us if you're not going to do this. If you are going to have a press campaign, a marketing and branding and website campaign, as you say, to drive future traffic to your facility to when you open the doors, but also to establish the brand. I am placing a very large flashing light on this one, and I will be keeping a very close eye when the doors are open or when we get some reporting of how the soft opening is going on, because there's something going on here, and we need to know more. But again, we're just putting it out there. Moving on to our constant expanding sandbox universe, and we are up to, well, my database tells me 88 facilities. Maryland gets a sandbox following the usual form factor, no F&B, and this one is part of the LOL Entertainment franchise operation.
Oh, well, you know, one of the things we can probably expect from is to see a few additional openings of some other ancillary locations around the sandbox. LOL likes to put some of their other concepts side by side, or at least within, you know, proximity of each other, to help leverage both staffing and you know, and also be able to do cross promotions, etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see, at least in the next few months, or you know, of course, the next 6 months, some additional openings in Baltimore near the Sandbox VR.
Yeah, I call it clustering, where they are as the master franchisee of a number of these kinds of brands. They gather them together, as you say, benefits for staffing, benefits for audience retention, stuff like that. I'm also looking forward to the guys at LOL maybe during IALPA giving us a little bit more transparency to how these things are doing for them and what changes they're going to be making, because we're getting very close now to a period of time where you're going to start thinking about what next for your open facilities. Our friends at Zero Latency have a cluster of opening announcements, mainly in Germany. So their German franchisee out there has opened up 2 facilities, and you know, it is, you know, the Bremen facility falls into the same structure as their, you know, as their others. It is a single arena with a Games Master VIP area, and you know, it is what it is, and it brings it up to now 152 facilities under the Zero Latency. We have been reporting in Sound Off that Zero Latency has been doing a franchisee meetup, where they've been sort of educating and informing their operators on what they're doing next. I can say that they have quite a major hardware update planned for their systems. And of course, we've already talked about they have a number of licensed IP content in the works. So with the Cyberpunk game experience being one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great when the franchisors bring their franchisees together. One, just to give them updates. I mean, the larger franchise groups have an actual conference every year where they bring them all into one. You know, they open up, they bring them the sponsors, the different vendors for the franchise that come. That's great. That's once a year. It allows the franchisees to network with each other, get to know each other. But I think on a more regular basis, the more that you can really build camaraderie, build those open connections between other, you know, franchisees who tend to not compete with each other because they are not in the same regions. They can learn a lot from each other by having that open communication flow. And I think the better operating franchise groups tend to do that more frequently versus the others where you don't even have an annual conference, let alone regular updates from your franchisor.
If you follow the franchise industry mantra, you've come across 2 types of franchise investment: the company that throws their brand at an operator and lets them sink or swim, and the others that help them through the process and offers them a family kind of relationship. Yeah. And we've seen this with Topgolf, we've seen this with Chuck E. Cheese, we've seen this with Zero Latency. It is that kind of gathering everybody together and kumbaya together. I would say it is important to keep a close eye on zero latency now. We're at a very important pivotal moment regarding their financing, their future structures, and their plans going forwards. And I expect around the time of IALPA that we will have some announcements about what they're really looking to achieve with all of the investment that they put into the operation. Another free roaming immersive environment, but this time on the virtual adventure approach. The Affinity Experiences venue in Montreal, we've been talking a lot about. They have invested heavily in their environment, their venue, and they have also been directly involved in content created to go into that. And the first of those major investments post Felix and Paul are now taking root, and the Black Mirror experience that we talked about a few sound-offs ago has now been opened at the Infinity experience. 60 minutes, walk around in groups, experiencing the universe that is Black Mirror. What can we say? It is a proven formula. It's just going to be interesting to see how the Montreal location does with this, and they're going to be soon also dropping in some other branded experiences, such as one based upon the Blade Runner universe for next year. Again, using the Universe platform, which is ubiquitous, along with the others, and well as using Fever as a major partner in this operation, which also seems to become ubiquitous for these kinds of announcements.
This is exactly the type of attraction that Fever gets their hands into and involved with. These types of immersive walkthrough experiences is like their bread and butter, their specialty lately. But it'd be interesting to see how this does. And certainly it feels a little bit more permanent than a pop-up. But at the same time, it has the type of I visit once and maybe not ever again pop-up type experience. So hopefully they've considered rotating this, through, so not fully pop-up, but a rotating exhibition, so to speak, in this space.
I get the feeling that these kinds of virtual adventure deployments are being treated very much like an exhibit or exhibition that you would see in some museums and some galleries. We're here for 9 months. We hope to generate X amount of walk-in traffic generated through our Fever partnership. And then at the end of this, it will be pulled down. Well, the signs will be changed, the software will be updated, and it will be the Cyberpunk or the Blade Runner or the Jumanji experience for another 9 months. This is a model that has proven itself in the exhibition sector and the museum sector. I need to see the numbers here to see if this is going to generate the worthy revenue needed to keep on doing this rather than a one-hit wonder, because I'm very scared that if it's a one-and-done approach for this kind of experience, then that will have a knock-on effect when you update the software and put in a new experience, because some people may just say, oh, we've already done the VR walk around. I don't care what content's there. If the content isn't compelling enough and is dependent on its brand, then we can have that argument we were having a couple of sound-offs ago about, is branding and IP enough to generate an entertainment business model. Jumping on, and we come to Dave & Buster's latest opening, Pennsylvania, 41,000 square, usual format, lots of balloons. I was interested to hear that, from the reports, the people that walked around at the opening, that they thought that the arcade machine count was a little lower than they had expected from Dave & Buster's events. And of course, I begged and pleaded for those individuals that walked around the opening to check on the competitive socializing, social bay component of the event, and they forgot to do that. So I can't tell you how much of that competitive socializing is still there or is incorporated into this new venue. I would say I'm seeing a real major pullback on the themality from the pictures that I've got of the venue compared to other Dave & Buster's openings.
That's exactly what I was trying to find some other pictures, because when the small handful of pictures, because it's so new, obviously, from
Yeah, of course.
on Google, the ones that have been posted, because Dave & Buster's website is terrible. You can never see pictures of the actual real venues. So you have to see them from other guests who visited and posted them online. But I was looking, and it is stark. The roof, the ceiling, it's like this dismal gray, very poor lighting in this space, like not accent lighting. There's no colorization. It is a bland, stark thing. And if this is the new path for Dave & Buster's, it's this more like simplified, monotone type approach. I'm not digging it.
I think if you go to the TripAdvisor reports and look at the pictures of the bar seems to have had the love, and the entertainment has come off the weak sister. My opinions are very written across me in blood, but I feel if you neglect the entertainment component, trying to cut corners, then you're going to really regret this in the long run. I am getting the twinge of the Blockbuster Video effect at the moment regarding these guys. I will just leave it at that for the time being. I think we will be touching upon Dave & Buster's in a coming sound off again. Another new opening under the the Dave & Buster's operation, of course, is Main Event. We haven't been talking about that many new Main Event openings, so it was nice to hear about Deer Park getting one in New York, 62,000 square, bowling alley, climbing environment, laser tag, amusement, and F&B. And looking at this one, it also looks like they have eased back on the themality in the rollout of this particular facility. We're up to about 65 main events, and we don't hear a lot about Main Event from the Dave & Buster's reporting. So this was an interesting snapshot of the continuation of the brand.
What I find interesting in this location is that they actually have added challenge rooms and some escape rooms into this particular location, which seems to me anyway to be a relatively new thing in main events. At least the main events I've been in have not had escape rooms, have not had challenge rooms either. They typically have their bowling, their gravity rope, what they call gravity ropes, but the ropes course, and their arcade with some billiards and obviously F&B, and maybe a human crane here and there. But they've now added multi-ball and escape rooms and adventure rooms, which I think is a departure historically.
I have seen Main Event of facilities update by adding challenge areas, and these are very simplistic, 8 people maximum enclosures with some level of active entertainment or escape kind of environment. I haven't seen a new venue roll out with that already installed. So you're correct that this is something to keep an eye on, though I get the feeling that this particular venue is an outlier regarding its layout. It does actually seem to be a mishmash of a couple of applications of Main Event layout. Again, this is one of their laser tag venues that doesn't have a gel blaster incorporated. And again, that's one that we need to be aware of, that kind of relationship may have come to an end, and they may be now pivoting to a new type of laser tag approach. But again, we need to get inside one of the new venues as soon as possible.
I think it is telling, though, the fact that this is a brand new venue and they do have laser tag, but no gel blaster. So we've seen many events that brought in gel blaster begin to remove them. And so this is definitely something we need to keep an eye on to see if this is an ongoing trend.
I would like to say to future Kev, could you do an investigation into gel blaster for us, Kevin, and see what the hell's going on there? Because we haven't heard anything about them since IALPA. So worthy a chase. Moving on, and we come to a cluster of openings. We'll go into this in more detail in Sound Off, but Qatar has seen 3 new LBEs open in quick succession. Why these have clustered together, I think we can blame on the Middle East situation, and that plans for an earlier opening have been impacted. We have the Play-Doh factory, very similar to what we've talked about before. We have the Nerf Action Experience, very similar to what we've talked about before with their Singapore opening and such like. And we have a continuation of a very popular brand out there, the ground control operation. Now its fourth facility opening here in Qatar, but in the Middle East in general. And all of this is under the ground control entertainment chain. So that operation, I'm sure, has been under a lot of pressure to get these venues open. And now with the hopeful green shoots from the dove of peace within that particular area, it is now time for them to open and try and recoup some of the revenue that's been invested so far.
Yeah, that's interesting. That they're opening all three of those locations under the ground control entertainment chain. So yes, trying their hand at some IP, I guess. Maybe Hasbro had a deal or something, and they decided to try out some IP. I mean, the Nerf Action. We've seen those before. The Play-Doh Fun Factory, though, I don't know that I've seen a current installation of the Play-Doh Fun Factory. So that I was trying to get a little bit more information about what type of attractions are in there. So it looks a little bit like a Crayola experience, but obviously with Play-Doh, we've had a conversation, probably like 20 sound offs ago now, about these types of younger, heavy IP driven experiences and some of the struggles that they've had. So, hopefully ground control, they're an experienced operator. They'll be able to see some success with Play-Doh that others have not seen with other young child IP.
I was at the Sea Expo, the Saudi Entertainment and Amusement or Attractions Expo, a couple of years back, and I was actually present when the Play-Doh and the Nerf agreements were signed with ground control, and also our friends at Seven were involved in a lot of this discussion. I get the feeling that there are a number of these kinds of LBEs based on this IP that are coming forwards, but again, we'll go into more detail on sound off. Charts, we've got one. An Urban Air in Texas has closed down. Opened 2016. It temporarily closed in February, or that's how it was reported in its TripAdvisor and such like. And then finally, end of April, they admitted that this is a permanent closing. Doors closed, and we're not sure what's happening to the facility. The usual churn of venues to be expected. That's the usual churn of facilities to be expected. This is the only one I can report. We're into May now, coming to the end of May, and I haven't reported that many closings. I am concerned. I raise this as a red flag. I'm sure we will be talking more about this in later issues.
I absolutely think we will be talking more about this. There's no way that there are either not closures that have been happening and just not being announced, or that there's a backlog of people, of venues holding on for a successful summer, etc., that just may not be able to make it through.
I get that feeling that some people are holding on for grim death, even though they're in a death spiral, just to make sure that they can benefit from what's going, what they hope will be a staycation, a dividend, as it were. I'm calling this the constipation of the sector at the moment, as flippant as I always am. But this constipation will break. And if we are falsely holding on for hope, then it could be quite damaging for the industry going forwards if we don't address. You can't build a dam in front of this fast-moving water and hope that it's not going to blow apart. But anyway, that's enough from me. If you've got some information about that constipation problem I'm talking about, you can hit me up on LinkedIn or via the email. We have some new Stinger reports coming out. I promise. And we also have some other reports coming out linked to a little bit of what's been going on in the licensing and branding sector.
Perfect. All right. Well, great open and shut, Kevin, and we'll see you on the next one.
If you run a location-based entertainment brand and want to attract more visitors, check out Radius. They use real-time location data and customized marketing strategies to help brands like yours stand out. Radius can boost your foot traffic and build a loyal customer base. Plus, they're offering a complimentary local market analysis to show you exactly how they can help you grow. Curious? Visit radius.co and ask about your free market analysis. That's RAYDIUS.co. Hello and welcome to Promo Pro Tips with Chuck D. Monty. That is me. And today I'm going to go over influencer marketing with you. Now, I think there are a vast amount of opinions on influencer marketing. Some people love them. Some people hate it. Some people, have too big of maybe expectations for them or don't understand it or are afraid of it. Or again, there's a wide range of opinions on influencer marketing. So I think it all comes down to, like many strategies and many things in business and marketing. It's your expectations of it. It's trial and error. It is, not necessarily doing it once. It's packaging it and doing it the proper way. So I'm going to today, I want to give you sort of some general rules of thumb and the best way to work with influencers, everything from finding them to collabing with them to expectations and all that other stuff, right? So first and foremost, you need to find them, right? I would suggest primarily using TikTok or Instagram influencers for location-based entertainment brands. Now, if I was looking for them, AI has changed this a little bit. AI has made it a little bit easier maybe to find influencers. Obviously, you can go on your Claude, your ChatGPT and say, hey, find me an influencer who focuses on families, entertainment, food, whatever in this area, okay? Now, I will say when you are in more of a rural area, it does make it a little more difficult to find these influencers or micro-influencers. Now, you could range from a micro-influencer, which is somebody with any, couple thousand to 100,000 followers, or, all the way to, a larger influencer to, millions of followers, right? Obviously that's going to change the price. Okay. But finding them, again, go to your AI tools, right? Type in certain keywords and family entertainment, influencer in Chicago, food influencer in whatever, right? City, name your city. Try and find, when you're looking for a city, maybe not get too specific. Try and use, for example, if you're in the Twin Cities, right? Maybe you wouldn't say, St. Paul, you'd say Twin Cities, or, try and have a term that people use locally, right? To describe a certain DMA or certain area or whatever, right? That'll help you find them. You can go on Google, you could do the search. You can literally type it right into TikTok and or Instagram, right? Try and, I don't want to say be generic, but again, try and use a term that people use locally to describe a certain area, and type in, the thing you look for, family entertainment, food, influencer, whatever, right? Now, once you find them, you want to vet them. Are they real? Are they legit? Are they good? Biggest giveaway on Instagram and TikTok is having a ton of followers and very little engagement on likes and comments. Also having likes and comments hidden on Instagram, right? They don't want to see who said this and others have liked this, right? That's a dead giveaway, okay? They're trying to hide the fact that they don't have a lot of interaction on there, okay? So vetting them, making sure they are real. They don't have a ton of followers and little engagement. Look at their content that they're posting, right? Do you like their content? Is there anything inappropriate that they're posting? Is there anything you don't want to be associated with them as an influencer, right? See if they've done any other, collaboration post or influencer posts in the past, and what was the engagement on those, okay? So that's all vetting them, okay? Now, contacting them. You keep it very simple. Hey, my name is so-and-so, representing XYZ place. Wanted to reach out and see what it looked like to potentially partner with you on a collaboration or influencer post, or, if you can let me know any details you have or whatever, right? Sometimes they have a nice pricing sheet. Sometimes just go back and forth. I would get messages, many as possible, right? Go through, message them, DM them, email them. Some will have their emails for inquiries. Some you could just DM them, right? Just go through and contact them, okay? Now, the offer, I always try and barter first, right? offer them just a free experience, a free birthday party, a free whatever, to come down and do a post for you, right? Do a review, sort of. Bartering obviously would always be the best. Okay. If you can't barter, you really got to see what the value is for you, what's in your budget. Okay. Can an influencer, a really big influencer, make a post and pack a place out? Sure. Right. I probably think that's less frequent than you would like to think. But the exposure of it, it's hard to tell the long lasting effects of something like that, right? If they post something, how long until that starts to bear fruit and people start coming in. Okay. So, be conscious of that, right? What does that timeline look like? And what is the value on that, right? Maybe you're paying $500, $1,000 for somebody to come down and do an influencer post for you, right? So I would, once you have that once you have that decided or negotiated what the payment is going to be, then you want to talk about what the post is going to look like, right? See if they've done other posts. Say, hey, I like this other post you did. Let's do something similar. Or maybe you might have an idea of something you want to do. Maybe you want to get them showing you have a restaurant in your place. You want them to do mainly food stuff or all the things that are in there, right? What does the post look like? Okay. Once they post it, you want to make sure it's a collab, especially on Instagram. It's a collaboration post, so it shows up on both your timelines, right? And then last but not least, you want to get permission for them. If you really want to have a long lasting effect and have an asset that you could use for the long term, okay, you want to get permission for them to turn this into an ad, right? So you're going to get that asset. Now it can live on for much longer, right? It's going to be social influence, third party, validation, right? So again, if you can get this and use that ad, even better, right? So now it's not just that one-time post that lives for a week or so until everybody sees it and then that's it. You could use it over and over and over and over again. Okay. So that's how I would work with an influencer. Again, I think if you do it and do it consistently, it can make a big, big impact on you, your location, visitors to your location, and even followers on your social media who you could then further follow. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Get busy working with some influencers.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks for that, Chuck. And that is, it's like, coming down to it. So we've got coming up this week, Sound Off 123. Kevin reviews actually the recent licensing expo and more on Tuesday, June 2nd. And for those of you who are interested in what's coming up in season 5, you can add suggestions right here. So that is definitely, hold on, what are we doing here? All right, now we got it. Oh my gosh. All right. We're doing good. We're good. But you can scan this QR code to give suggestions around what you want to see happen in season 5. We already had some great suggestions. I'm excited. I think we're going to be shuffling things up a little bit, shaking things up, making this a bit of a new show. And season 5 does kick off in late August. So early September, right around that time frame, we'll have a new season 5 and a new show already and lined up for you. So anyway, that is a wrap for this week's LBX show. This is Brandon Wiley signing off. Stay tuned and keep kicking ass.